Good morning and welcome back to an update on the restoration of our 1950 Chris Craft Riviera 20 here in Hamilton, New Zealand. Today is the 27th of June and we're in the middle of winter here in New Zealand. So we've been spending some time working our way forward on the decks of this boat. Some of you will know that through updates that we've had this boat flipped and we've installed a full new 5200 bottom in the boat, and we've flipped it back over onto its hull, secured it all up with the intention of doing the remedial work on the deck, only to find that when we really looked at it, it just simply was in a very poor state of repair. Obviously no glues used in the boat, so just lots of fastenings that had sort of been worked loose over the years. So a big decision was made and we removed this deck off the boat in its entirety in preparation for the work that we've done. So a bit of an update on what we've done. Well, the first thing we've done is we've replaced both these horizontal deck planks in the back section of the boat. Obviously the water runs to the rear, and when these boats sit on trailers often, and so it had rotted out. And of course with the corner boards, covering boards in place here, the water traps in behind, and these are renowned for getting rot in them and only being made out of a bit of a low quality pine. So we've replaced both port and starboard aft bank boards, and then up on the forward deck we've replaced and cut and fit and 5200 into brand new deck plank here in this port forward section. We've butt jointed and back blocked and glued and screwed through this part of the boat to make that all nice and secure. And then of course at the same time we were working to rebuild the transom framing, which we've rebuilt in pretty much its entirety. So we've put a new top bow on, new vertical supports, and of course we also strengthened this centre section of the boat, which from the factory just had 2 screws through this bottom frame and were pretty poorly built and flogged out. So we've put a bit more strengthening at the back of that, a bit of a web, and also up at the top here we've given that a bit more support as well. So that's just clamped up there. So that transom's sort of almost ready for the top board to go on. We're just working our way through that. And then, like the hull, we've also cut all new deck beams. So we've fitted all new deck beams in. Now, one of the things we elected to do here is this this vertical sort of deck beam perimeter board. This perimeter board here. This is the original perimeter board, and we really struggled with this because it's not that good a timber. It wasn't in too bad a condition, but it was quite critical to the way that the boat was going to work and come back together. So we sort of kind of made the decision that if we were to recut it and reshape it, then we'd have a sort of another level of challenges just getting it all to fit back together. So we elected to retain this board, this vertical deck perimeter board, on the boat, and we've put a lot of effort into that with epoxy powders, gluing and filling powders to get that back to a good condition. Plugged lots of holes with dowels and bits and pieces, and then we've epoxied that into the boat. So of course these are only screwed in the factory, so this is much more stronger. And the back of the boat is a bit of a buy. We've fitted in a new little piece here and also doubled it up, because if you know where these boats are put together in the factory, this is a very weak point in their construction. So we just gave it a bit more stock to glue and then to be able to screw in from underneath. So that's sort of kind of how we dealt to that back corner. Now, one of the critical parts of this boat that I struggled with was this rear seat deck beam. So this rear deck or rear seat deck beam is the deck beam that has the original hull number stamped in it, and this board was not in good condition, and we initially cut a whole new board section for the boat, and we were going to replace this deck beam in its entirety, but the reality of it is I just could not bring myself to do it. it's the history of the boat, it's got the hull number in it, and I really wanted to see that retained. So once again, you know, more hours and more time, but we've put a lot of work into that bit of timber with epoxies and shored it up to make it good, so that we retain that deck number, which is critical. So we've got the back end sort of kind of mostly set up. I've still got to fit around this engine bay, so I'm going to do all the rest of it and then come back to the engine bay when it's all squared up. So that's sort of kind of the rear of the boat. And then up in the forward section of the boat, we've epoxied all these deck beams in. Up in the forward section of the boat, I'm just at the moment now just starting to think my way forward, because replacing this horizontal deck shelf here has meant I've lost a bit of guidance around the location of where this vertical deck beam, perimeter beam fits. So this morning I've come down with just the intention of just fitting in the old deck beams, which are deck beam frames, which are going to be all replaced when I've cut them out on the bandsaw. And so today was just an idea to come down here and spend half an hour and start to understand fit and shape and centre line and all that stuff up the front end of the boat, so that we can epoxy it all, epoxy this deck beam back in. We're going to use the old one. We're going to have to mitre and fit in up the front because it's just worn out. But in the majority, we're going to use this bit of timber and try and shore it up, because it gives so much guidance to the accuracy of the deck on this boat. We have fitted in and epoxied up this quarter section of the boat here. So this has all been epoxied in. And then this deck beam is, this dash beam is, that forward cockpit beam is all brand new as well, using some mahogany Macquarie for that, which is a nice timber and easily workable and nice and durable, and sort of goes to the heritage of the boat. So that's sort of kind of where we're at. We've sort of got the bones of the deck in place. Very slow work, oh my gosh. But really critical to get that right, and the decision to save this vertical deck beam has really helped us with that. So we'll tidy all that. We'll use some CPES or our equivalent of that, just to give that some certainty, and then 2 coats of the mahogany bilge, and then we'll start to work our way forward from there. So that's a bit of an update of where we're at with regards to the workings on the deck of this 1950 Chris Craft Riviera 20.